You're listening to the WB Download, coming to you from Whelen Builders Showroom in Studio 1C. We are a podcast centered around building custom homes, the customer experience of building a custom home, and a really entertaining listen from many great guests and interviews that may or may not have anything to do with building. I'm excited to share with you their voice and their stories that will enhance your idea of the custom builder world. All right. Hello again, everybody. This is Jeff Whelen, president of Whelen Builders, coming to you from Studio 1C here at the Whelen Builders headquarters here in Westchester. Today is Tuesday, October the 10th, and man, it's coming along great year. I'm glad to have everybody on the show today. Hope everybody's doing well and has enjoyed their summer, because summer is officially over and now we are into fall. And like I said, it's October the 10th. Today is a very special day because today is my sister's birthday. My sister Erin, and she's 3 years younger than I am. I think she's she's probably 45 today. I think if I get that wrong, she's probably going to tell me. So if you see her out, happy birthday. And tomorrow is my wife and I's 15th anniversary. So, man, it's been a long run and a great run. And I probably could have done a better job, but it's still 15 years is a long time. And I'm pretty excited about it. So happy anniversary to my bride. And so, hey, here, let's talk about what we got going on here at Whelen Builders and what's happening in the world. Number one, our guest today is a very special guest, or was a very special guest, but she canceled on me. So I had to quick adjust to figure out what we were going to do for this episode. And we got an episode. I'm going to talk about the 23 must-haves of building a custom home. So before we get into that, I want to talk about what's happening right now here in Whelen Builders. So today I've got my dog, Wilson, with me. Wilson's in the studio with me. So if you hear some heavy panting, it is not me, and I'm not a weirdo. It's the dog. He's a small horse, and so if anybody's ever seen pictures of us, if you checked out the pictures from our episode when we went, and I was talked about when we went on vacation, you can see Wilson. We took Wilson to Red Rocks in Colorado, and Red Rocks is a big amphitheater out there, very, very well known, and Wilson was the hit because everybody loves him. They wanted to get their picture taken with him. He's a pretty cool looking dog and kind of funny. So right now we closed on a job, really big job a couple weeks ago. I think I told you all that, but we're getting ready to close on another job right now up in Lebanon. And, we talk about it in our Builder 20 group. This is the part where we're trying to land the plane smoothly. And that's the best analogy we can try and come up with. And it's really, really difficult to do because every little detail that we are paying attention to and trying to make sure that this thing is going good. And personalities and emotions are elevated at this point in the game. People are tired of building this house. The customers are ready to move in. They're getting things lined up for themselves, movers and all sorts of utilities and different things, and it makes it tough. So we're trying to land the plane smoothly. I'm not talking about this customer. I'm talking about every house we ever build. We don't want to drop this thing down on a runway and everybody goes, oh, like they're going to crash the plane. We want to make it smooth. So that's happening this week, and that's something we're concentrating on. We've applied for the permits. We finally got the lots recorded for Humrama. And last week we had an open house out at the site for Humrama, and it was very well attended. And it was really cool. We're out in Goshen, and Goshen Township is so fired up about this show coming out there, and we are too. So it's pretty neat. So we're in for permits on that. So that means we're going to be digging that basement here in about 2 weeks, I would hope. Hopefully Claremont County can move that bad boy through there quick enough. And then we've also just got our plans back from a big one that we have over in Indian Hill. These really awesome customers we've been working with, and I've got it out for pricing from my trade partners, and hopefully we'll be putting a contract together on that one. I think I've got it back for the around the 18th of October, so that'll be a pretty cool one. And then we've been busy. We're in architecture with two more. Which is really cool because I feel like I never know where my fate lies. When I'm looking ahead and I'm sometimes sitting there going, this is going to be the worst year ever. And then other times I turn around, I'm like, this is going to be a pretty good year. So right now I feel really good about it. And we've got some really awesome customers that we're working with. And man, it's just so cool. We're in a good place, a really good place. So I just got back from my Builder 20 group, and we met in Anacortes, Washington, which is 2 hours north of Seattle. And just so I satisfy my friend Don Weiler from Bloomington, Indiana, the greatest part about Anacortes, Washington is not just Greg Kreider. It is also Burl Ives was from Anacortes, Washington. Now, if anybody doesn't know who Burl Ives is, you can just quit listening right now, because Burl Ives is one of the Christmas songwriters. And also, I believe he's the creator of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And so that was pretty cool. And we kept going around telling everybody, yeah, this is where Burl Ives is from. And nobody has a clue on who Burl Ives is. But now you do. And now you know where he lived at. So we had really, really good meetings. And I just love this group. And we're so tight. We only meet twice a year, but we feel like we're just each other's family. We all get along, and we all just help each other. And it's just been an incredible run. I think this is my eighth, going in my 8th or 9th year in the group, and just love it. I got to thank Greg Kreider from Kreider Construction up in Anacortes, Washington. He is just a magnificent person, has an unbelievable company, and very well organized. And he took us through some of his processes. And of course, we took tours of the homes that he's built, and took a tour of his office, and just got to see the town. And it's just, man, he just does such a great job. He had us over to his house for dinner on one of the final nights there, and man, it's just amazing, his hospitality and his family as well, to see things going well for him. So thank you again for them. We all presented certain sections of our group. We didn't have a speaker come this time, and so we all learned so much from each other, which is why I thought, man, you know what? When we go to, which was our fall meeting here, let's all talk about different sections. So one guy took on marketing. I took on marketing to contract or lead to contract. Other guys took on processes. My band, Dan Geist, took on customer service. There's just a number of different things that we did, and it turned out great. Everybody loved it. Everybody got so much out of it. So I took the red eye back on Saturday night. I left Washington at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, and I arrived in Cincinnati at 9:30 or 10:30 Sunday morning. Very intelligent method of travel when you leave Washington State, pass by Cincinnati, and land in Washington, D.C., and then take another 2-hour hopper on the way home. Was very intelligent. But I had a football game I had to get back to. And so I got back for that, and we lost, of course. And, the season's over, and now we're heading into our first game for the playoffs this weekend. So we'll see how we do. It's one and done, and hopefully we can kick it pretty good there. The other thing that I was going to say here is that we are hiring here at Whelen Builders. We've had some massive changes this year, and when I say massive, it's because we've had some people who have been with us for a long, long time, and I'm talking about trades and employees, and have been with us for a long, long time. And when I don't know, it's so hard to explain how things happen, but you realize after a while it's just not a good fit. Maybe they don't want to work here anymore. They're throwing a fit. They're always complaining and bitching about something, and then you realize that their methods just aren't what you're looking for. The products aren't what you're looking for, and maybe they realize that we're trying to get more out of them because we're building these huge, expensive, nice houses, custom houses, and they're not set up for it, and they can't handle it. So we had to move on. So we've had some guys that were we had a plumber that was here for probably 35 years, and we're no longer with them, and which was it was heartbreaking, but at the same time, our new plumber, we met with them and their family. They're a family-owned, operated business. It's Kramer Plumbing, and man, they came into this office, and it's just it's a relief because they're awesome people and they do a great job, and they also like NASCAR, so that's really cool. But they're really cool people. And in our cabinet company, we've been with them they were here when I got here, so they've been here for 26 years, and going on 27 years. And we just couldn't see eye to eye. We didn't see eye to eye a lot through those years, and we just couldn't take it anymore. So we're moving on. And again, our customers are meeting with this new company, and they're just enjoying the heck out of it. Really, really praising us and on the decisions and the quality of the cabinet we're getting, and people are enjoying it. So it's been tough, man. I mean, this stuff takes a toll on me. I don't take this lightly. And when things aren't going well with these guys, and we got to make a change or decision, or they want to make a change or decision, these aren't all up to me. And I certainly, believe it or not, I don't wake up in the morning and go, hey, this guy's doing a really good job, I think I'm going to fire him. But things just get sideways and get twisted, and it's time to move on. We've had a couple of employees here who have decided to do the same, and it breaks my heart. Sometimes it does. Sometimes when they go, I'm just like, just go ahead and go, because you were filling a spot. Other ones, not so easy, and it's heartbreaking. You get really close to these people. I learned in 2015, 16 that I really needed to work on a culture in this company, and it's been my goal to improve that ever since. For years we were a family-owned and operated company. We were more family than was employees, and now we're more employees than family. And so you have to build a culture, which means that you have to learn how to handle people. I'm a redneck builder. I'm out there swinging hammers. I like to run equipment. I'm just a builder. And so it takes me a lot to learn how to handle people and understand people and have empathy for people. And that really is tough. And it sounds stupid for me to say that. It's tough. It is. And so I'm learning a lot of that. So then once you get these people in a good place and you get your company on running really well, and then somebody decides to leave, man, it just tears me up. And I got to take the rest of the day off and think about it, because I don't want to say anything stupid. I don't want to get too emotional, and I want to try and make the right decision. So, like I said, we're hiring here at Wheeling Builders. Inquire within. And somebody told me a long time ago, you're always hiring. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I hate hiring people. But turns out you're always hiring, because you never know when somebody's going to decide to pack up and go. So anyway, that's what's happening in the world of Wheeling Builders right here, right now, happening on the farm. On the farm, I don't know if I told everybody this, but Cody, my son, has joined 4-H, and we have a steer project, which I am so excited about. And I think he is too, because it's really cool that we're working on this together. But so we've been working with the steer every morning, every night, and going down there and taking care of him. So it's a new venture for him. And I think he's pretty excited about it. And so that on the farm here, we've had, we're up to 4 babies now for the fall. And we got one more to go for the fall, and then we jump into the spring calves coming in there at the end of January. So a lot of things happening. We're really, really dry here. We haven't had any rain. We've had a little bit of rain a couple of weeks ago, but didn't do us any good. And I bet it's been 6 weeks since we've had a drop of rain. So guys are starting to take the beans off. Corn's probably going to flip here in about another 2 weeks. Some guys on the west side are already taking corn off, but most of the guys are taking their beans off right now, and that's how dry it's been here. But I look back at some memories that we've seen with pictures, and we're not too far off right now with the beans. Actually, corn was a little bit further along. We had such a wet spring. I think the guys didn't get the corn in until later, and so that's probably why it's dragging on a little bit. So again, that's what's happening in my life, happening in the life of Wheeling Builders, and what's going on around here in Southwest Ohio. So let's talk about the must-haves in a custom home. So Leanne and Robin and I had sat down a while ago, and we talked about these things. We asked a lot of different people different questions, and just gave us some pretty good thought. And people always ask me, like, what's new, what's hot, what's cool. I'm like, well, we're building walls and floors, what's really hot? Well, I don't know, but I look back and say, okay, what's changed over the last couple of years? And most of the time it's improvements to things. It's not really changing. So we're not really adding something spectacular. We're just changing it, making better. Number one, the number one thing I think about when we're designing these houses is a huge pantry. People love it, and it's a working pantry. And so everybody says, yeah, I got to have a pantry, or I got to have a linen closet. Well, you got to have a pantry. We are making these pantries as big as a bedroom sometimes. It's big, at least big as a laundry room. It's got cabinetry in it. It's got sink in it. Sometimes it's got refrigerators in it. Sometimes it's got small appliances in it. Sometimes all the appliances are in there, and there's no appliances out in the kitchen. It's because it's a prep area. And so the huge pantry is the number one things that are on the must-have list. Think about that, and people love it. You know, in Homerama in 2018, we did a hidden pantry, so it was hidden in the cabinetry, and when you open the door, all of a sudden it opens up into this new room. People were super excited about that. We did that in our own house, and it's always like when we're giving people tours of our home, we show people that, and everybody's like, "Oh, I had no idea," and it's really a grasper. So the second thing is the outdoor living area. So we want, and the other, this is really important because we're always building covered porches on the back. We're always putting a fireplace back there. But the main thing is we're able to bring the outside in and the inside out, which means we're building these huge sliding glass doors in the living area going to the outside. So at some point, you're going to open this door up, and either you're going to fold it back, you're going to slide it back, or you're going to do a double slider where it opens up to like an 8 foot or 6 or 8 foot opening in the middle of it, which means you can just walk freely from the inside to the out. Most of the time when we're doing this, it's a screened in porch on the back of the house. And so you can entertain and have all of your entertainment on the first floor. If anybody from Southwest Ohio here, or if you go on our website, check out the Woodford. And we did this on purpose. Your entertainment space is on the first floor. We put a bar outside the master bedroom, outside the family room, kind of in its own private area that also connects to the back porch, had a big trifold window that opened up all the way to the outside to the back porch. So you don't need a finished basement anymore. Everybody thinks you need a finished basement. In fact, our Homerama house will not have a finished basement in it this year. Our entertainment will be on the first floor and in the backyard. And it's really cool when you do that because, you know, everybody, it's a fad for finished basements, if you ask me. Go down there every once in a while, go down there during football season, but now we have everything on the first floor. This covered outdoor area is super important. Make sure you make it big enough. Don't think that you're just getting a covered porch. Make sure you have a covered porch that you can enjoy. A spacious first floor entertainment area, kind of like what I just talked about. We're tying the outside in, the inside out. Make sure that your kitchen can hold a lot of people, because I don't care where you are. Every party that I've ever been to, we gather in the kitchen most of the time. At some point, we end up in the kitchen. And at some point, you know, if we have a house big enough, we make 2 islands because the people that are working in the kitchen say, keep all these people out there at that island. Don't let them come over to my workspace. And we also do that huge, we call it a convertible dining room. So it's a space off to the side of the kitchen, and you use it for everyday use, and you can use it for your dining room use. And we call it convertible because you can use it for those 2 purposes. But also, if you have guests over, you can turn that table and just run it on out. So instead of like when I was a kid, you weren't allowed in the dining room, you weren't allowed in the living room. Even when you had guests over, you freaked out because it probably had white carpet and white furniture in there, and you didn't want to spill anything on it. So now it's useful space. Here's the kicker. Here's number 4. Large garage space. Now, this is huge. Believe it or not, we're talking about this, and we're talking about this right away. And it's not just, you know, hey, we want to store something in here. We want to store something here. You want a little bit of room in there. And especially these custom houses, you know, you don't want to have to be, you know, fighting around poles. You don't want to have to be squeezing in and out of your car. You don't want to have to, you know, risk it when you're backing in and out. You know, we're doing really nice garage doors on there give a shout out to AE Garage Door, AE Door and Window Company here in Southwest Ohio. They're always paying attention to our doors for us, but we're doing a lot of things in these garages. We're finishing the floors in there. You know, we're making sure that we're painting the garages, and we can paint them different colors for people. We're putting specific lighting in there. My electrician told me it's not the 70s anymore, but we are putting 4 and 6 bulb and 8 bulb fluorescent lights in each one of these garages and just brightening the place up instead of one screw-in bulb. It's another living space. And sometimes in these houses, and this is what I have fight with these appraisers all the time, the concrete space, talking about porches, garages, and rear porches, front porches, and patios. Sometimes that square footage is more than the first floor all put together. And so this is an important space. 3 cars is pretty standard. 4 cars is becoming more standard. And a detached something or another, you know, where you're keeping the special cars in there, hobby cars, you're doing something over there. These are really, really popular spaces. The next thing we talk about, number 5, new innovative appliances. So, you know, I've had people come to me and say, we don't need appliances. You know, we don't even cook or anything like that. And by the time we're done having this conversation, they've got a house full of appliances that they love, and now they're going to turn over a new leaf. But, you know, the huge slide-in ranges, you know, these things are sometimes 60 inches wide, to the point where we have to provide special bracing and make sure that we put the load on the floor and the structure of the building to carry these appliances because they're so big. Built-in refrigerators, built-in dishwashers, where what I mean by that is that we put the cabinet panels on the front of it and it looks like it's part of the cabinetry. Some of these things are becoming more what we call flush mounted. So it really does look like the cabinetry. It's not sticking out from the cabinet. You can't hardly tell where the refrigerator and dishwasher is. Innovative, where they're working off your phone. You can turn the oven on preheat from your phone. But they're, for most part, we're really doing some really cool things with these appliances. And it's not just kitchen. We're putting refrigerators here. We're putting wine coolers here. We have wine coolers that are also beer refrigerators, the 2-in-1. We're doing ice makers. That's a big one. Doing some really cool stuff. So that's another thing to pay attention to. And now, I don't know if this is a big thing for everybody, but for Whelen Builders, this is kind of our trademark, is grand stairways. So we want to see the stairs. Now, I think in the first Homerama house I built in, not the first, but coming out of the recession in 2011, those folks said, we want to hide the stairs. I don't want to see those stairs when you walk in the front door. And we did, but we still made them cool. But most of the time when you see our stairs, we're separate them so you can stand at the top all the way at the second floor and look all the way down to the basement. So it looks, I think I call it old school. Lots of railing space, lots of different turns. It's never just a straight run. They're usually, minimum, very minimum 3.5, but we're usually 4 feet, wide, sometimes 60 inches wide on these stairs, and just doing some really cool things with them. So grand stairways. I want this thing to look, kind of, I don't know, I call it old school, but because, a lot of those old stairways, but I want it to look cool. The primary suite is not the master suite. It's a primary suite on the first floor. People get confused by this because I always call it a first floor master. I separate them between ranch, first floor master, and 2-story. Ranch is, of course, one level, single level, plus the basement. A first floor master means that all the entertainment and the master bedroom is on the first floor. And then the 2-story is traditional 2-story. All the bedrooms are on the second floor, entertainment on the first floor, and that's it. So I can't tell you. I built a 2-story. We built 2 of them. One out in Lebanon, and we built another one for some really good friends of mine out in Ross. And it's traditional 2-story. And those ones we're building down on a river, those things are 5 stories. So I don't know if they count for 2 stories. But the bedrooms are up, and so we want this bedrooms on the first floor. People are living. This is the way they're living, and they're not living it for it now. They're thinking about how they're living in the future. We built a lot of homes out on large acre sites, so it's not a transactional decision, where you're in a neighborhood where you're like, I'm going to live here forever, and in 6 years you sell it. Usually when we set these people up on these larger sites like this, they're going to be there for a long time. So they're thinking about the long run on this. So first floor master suite, primary suite on the first floor. Exterior hardy siding. So I can't tell you how many times in these municipal meetings, townships, cities, all over the place, they want brick. They because there was a big, huge fad, and there still is, of vinyl siding coming through Southwest Ohio, and all these houses are all vinyl or 3 sides vinyl. My good friend Jack Rupp over at Ashford Homes told me one time, "Have you ever heard of a Kansas City mullet?" And I said, "No, I have not. What is that?" And he said, "That's where you put hardy plank siding on the front and you put vinyl siding on the back and the sides." So exterior hardy sidings, James Hardy products are a cement fiberboard material. And this is an awesome material. We use it all the time. I've got it on our entire office, got it on my house. We do this more than we do brick anymore. We run it horizontal, which is a horizontal siding. They have a 6-inch overlap. They have an 8-inch overlap. And then we run it vertical, which it looks like shiplap, or not shiplap, but board and batten siding. We do these hardy shakes. It looks like a shake. So we mix a lot of this stuff up, and it turns out really cool. You can go you can't get too contemporary with this stuff unless you went to a really 6-inch exposure. But most of the stuff goes Craftsman, kind of farmhouse, different looks, but it's durable. It's got a lifetime warranty on the material, and it comes out primed. And I think that primer is like 11-year warranty. And then we paint it all with a Loxon paint from Sherwin-Williams. You'll see on our website, most of these houses have James Hardy products on the exterior of them. It's not all about the brick. And it took a while to get over here to Ohio and get people to settle in. When you say the word siding, they're like, "Are you talking about Hardy?" Yeah, that's great. Instead of thinking about the vinyl siding. Big deal there for the James Hardy products. The decorative hardscapes on the outside of the house. Now we use Sharon Nursery. Mike Handorf and the family over there are just excellent at what they do. And so they do our landscaping and they do a lot of the hardscapes. But then when we talk about stamped concrete and different decorative areas for patios and porches, this is separate from your covered porch. And I'm talking about doing some big rocks as stepping stones, going out to a fire pit. In 2018 and 2014, we did this also, where we created a big circle and we put some decorative gravel down and we made that our fire pit. So this circle is probably got an 8-foot radius on it, 16 feet across, and then it's got a fire pit. Kind of, you just build a fire in the middle of it and you all sit around there. And just that's something simple to do. I did it at my house as well because I had an area I could be able to do that. Just really doing some cool decorative hardscape. So it's not just landscaping, it's hardscape that you want to think about. Cabinet lighting and a statement piece lighting fixture. And so, I think about cabinet lighting. You think about under cabinet lighting, inner cabinet lighting. There's so many different options that we can do. But when we can do glass doors on these cabinets, and then there's a number of different things that come along with that cabinet when you do that. But we put lights in there. We put lights in our built-ins, and we put lights in our shelves. We can do little puck lights, or we can do strip lighting. Either way, it's an accent light that just turns that thing on, makes it look really cool. The same thing with uplighting on the outside of the house. I prefer the uplighting, which is a landscape well light. It shoots up on different areas of the house. You don't want it shooting in a window, but it shoots up on the house, and at night you drive by that thing and it looks cool. I prefer that over the soffit lighting because you can always change the lights in the landscaping. And you don't attract the bugs all over the house if you've got it up in the soffit. And the soffit lighting makes it look like it's Halloween sometimes. But anyway, the cabinet lighting and then the statement piece light fixture. So when you walk into a foyer, a really cool light fixture, sometimes in a family room, in a study, or over a billiards table, there's all sorts of different light fixtures that you can put in here that just make a statement for the room, not for the house, but for the room. And you look up and you're like, "Ooh, man, that is unbelievable." Accent walls. So we're doing these accent walls, you can do them out of wallpaper. You can do them out of a different paint color. You can do them out of wainscoting. You can do them out of applied molding. And applied molding is basically we're trimming the wall out with all kinds of different designs on it. And this goes along in bedrooms. If we do usually all 4 walls of a study, you could do them in a stairwell. All of these accent walls are something that just gives it's not, some of this stuff is not terribly expensive. It just gives you one little different look and makes it really cool. So that's something to think about. Accent ceilings. Now, I tell everybody all the time, and when we open these houses up as much as we can, so there's not as many walls in these houses as what there used to be. And when you were younger and you went into these older houses, every room was a room. It's by itself. It had walls surrounded. Now we're opening the house up as much as possible. And we separate the rooms with furniture, flooring, and ceilings. So when you think about your ceilings in your house, you have to be careful with this. And we have designed ceiling plans in our plans. So each one of our ceilings in every room almost has some sort of design to it. Whether you're talking about a tray ceiling, which is where it steps in and steps up. You have a cathedral ceiling, which is what we could look like a scissor that goes down through there. It goes up and then down like on an angle. You have vaulted ceilings, which we don't do too much of those 2-story ceilings anymore. 2-story ceiling, vaulted ceiling, 2-story ceiling. Then there's some other ceilings where they would start at the top, second floor, and then they would cathedral down on one side all the way down to the back, more like a Cape Cod. There's a number of different ways that you can do that. And then you get into painting the ceiling different colors. You can do a multiple step crown mold. You can do a multiple step framing into where the drywall steps in. And just do all kinds of woodwork up in there. If you go to our website, you can look at a home that we built in Crooked Tree in Mason, Ohio here, and look at the ceiling detail in this house. And it's just amazing. Our trim carpenters are amazing. Our painters are amazing for being able to paint it on there, but it's just really cool. Different things you can do just to turn it on. Like I said, just a little bit of a touch, and it just makes it really cool. custom hoods. And I was going to talk about this when we were talking about the appliances before, but this is something that's really big. We don't just do appliance hoods anymore. Now, sometimes people want this great big commercial hood that is on there and it's huge. It's like, 60 inches, whatever the width of the range is, or the width of the cooktop is, that's the width of the hood. The hood is the ventilation area that takes all of the moisture, takes everything up and out of the kitchen and takes it outside. So these decorative hoods are something that the cabinet makers are making. And sometimes it looks like a cabinet. Sometimes it looks like this huge copper metal thing coming up out of there. It kind of curves up and it's got an insert up inside of it. Sometimes these hoods are so big because the range is so big, we have to put makeup air on our heating and air conditioning system because this hood is so big, it's taking up so much air up out of the house that we have to do a replacement air for it. And that's something you got to consider when you're building these houses with these big cooktops and big ranges in them with the big hood. Custom hood. Think about that when you're designing your cabinetry, when you're designing anything that goes in your house. That's a focal point. Fireplace in the great room, focal point. Hood in the kitchen, focal point. Think about that. Full wall backsplashes. So when we're talking about the hood, we're talking about the backsplash as well. Because sometimes the hood is, we separate it from the cabinets and it's by itself. So we want this backsplash to go all the way up to the ceiling. I always think about beams in the great room, beams in any kind of room. You want them to look like they're structural beams, like they're holding something up. Because it's old school. That's where beams came from. All of our beams that we put in today are fake. They're false beams or whatever you want to call it. The hoods are the same way. You want this to look like a commercial hood. You want it to look old school. So if it's by itself, that's what it's going to look like, a chimney coming up out of the kitchen and taking that ventilation and sending it outside. When you do that, now you have a space on that wall that you can do some cool decorating with. And this is where the backsplash comes into play and take it all the way up. Now you need to put this backsplash on before you put the hood on to make sure that these guys don't have to cut all this tile and go around it. Plus they just ruin the hood when they do that. But the backsplash in the kitchen, we do backsplashes in the pantry. We do backsplashes in the bar area. There's plenty of places to do backsplashes. And this is the place where you can have some fun because you get to really put some cool tile on them walls. And it's just something that's completely different from anything else you do in the house. From little cracked tiles that look like they're all busted glass, really cool. Do some herringbone, and you can do accents. You can do some focal points, like in the hood area. We can do some herringbone right in the hood area and do some horizontal tile the rest of the places. Really cool places to do some fun stuff is the backsplashes. Pattern tile in a laundry room, mud room, or a bathroom. When I was in Texas a couple years ago for our Builder 20 meeting, these guys do a lot of different things in their floors where they'll put, for a little girl's bathroom, they'll put beautiful in the floor. They'll lay it out with tile. It's inlaid in the floor. They can do different things in their showers, what are their sauna, or whatever it is. Here, we're doing just some cool tile work, some accent tile. We'll do what we call a faux rug in the master bathroom, which is just a big rectangular area that has a different kind of tile in it, kind of like a backsplash tile that's inside or inset in the regular bathroom floor. This is a place where you can have some fun because in those mud rooms and in some of those bathrooms, you can do some really cool stuff that you wouldn't see in a lot of different places. In 2018, again, at Home Rama House, we did a herringbone brick floor in our mud room, and it was a tile, but it looked like brick, and it was kind of whitewashed and just really, really cool. So have some fun with that area, specifically in the mud room. Black on black windows. So forever, you did one color on the outside and you do white on the inside, and that's it. Now we're doing a lot of black on the outside and black on the inside. Or if you're doing a red window on the outside, you're doing a red window on the inside. It goes along with the theme of the room. And we've done this quite a bit throughout the whole house. Another thing we do quite a bit is if you do a black window on the outside, do black hardware on your windows on the inside. So the latches, the little metal latches that latch the windows shut, you can make those black. And the reason why we do this, one, it looks cool on the inside. But two, when you're looking at the windows on the outside of the house and you look up there, and the outside of the glass or the outside of the window is black, you're not going to see that little black latch up there. If you leave them all white to match the inside of the windows, when you look at the outside of the house and look up at the window, you're going to see a little white latch up there if it's a double hung window. And so just little particular things like that. But these black on black windows are cool as can be, and it's something that's happening quite a bit. We get Pella to stain those windows for us on the inside, and they come out factory finished for black on black or white on black, or however we do it. A lot of trim, and number 17, here we are. A lot of trim, molding, and baseboards. So we're doing I love woodwork, and I love to make sure that we're showing this off. Some things we can do. One, you can do larger baseboard. And I always think that the baseboard has to go along with the wall height. So don't do this crazy huge baseboard in a room where you have 8-foot ceilings, because it's going to make the ceiling shrink. It's going to make you feel like you're in a shorter room. Same thing with crown mold. If you do too much crown mold in a lower ceiling, it's going to make that room feel smaller. So you have to be careful with that. But I still love woodwork. And so, what we can do a lot of times, we'll do a 1x6 or a 1x8 baseboard, and we'll put a base cap on top of it just to beef it up, make it look cool, just do a different design than what you could just normally buy. It's all one piece. You can do an extra little applied molding above the baseboard. The casings, there's so many different things you can do with all of these different things, different areas. Casings, you can do a flat jam, you can do a decorative casing, you can do some plinth blocks on the casing. There's so many different header pieces you can put. You can go crazy on it. So again, this is a place where you can have some fun. Make sure it goes along with the theme of what you're looking for in your house, and catch that stuff. Crown molding, really cool. I love it. I think maybe you've heard me say this on this show before, but architects have a saying that you feel comfortable in a room and you don't know why. And it could be the paint color, could be the ceiling height, could be the trim, could be the people you're with, it could be anything. It could make you feel warm, or you could be in there and you could hate it and you don't know why. You're just in a bad mood. Maybe the light's too dark, or whatever the case is. These are some of these things that happen in these rooms that we put them in there. And you can look at it and be like, that's really cool. But it ties it together to make you feel comfortable. It makes you feel really good. Makes you feel, have a different feeling, sensation when you're in a room, when you have all this different stuff going on. And I'm talking about trim that makes you feel good. And I believe it. I believe in all this stuff. Applied moldings on the walls, like we talked about, wainscoting. There's so many different cool stuff that you can do. Number 18, which I probably would move this up, but it's an oversized shower in the primary bathroom, or in any bathroom for that matter, and or a steam shower. So we do a lot of these steam showers where we're enclosing the entire shower. It's got a little machine back there called Mr. Steam, and fills this bathroom up, or fills the shower up with steam, gives you a steam bath, and people love it. But an oversized shower, and I'm talking about, like, we just did one. We have one that's going over in Indian Hill right now, and this thing is, I think it's 12 feet long, and it's 5 feet wide, and just huge, and it's just cool as can be back there. And I say back there, it's because it's behind a wall. But that's not uncommon. A 6x6, 8x6, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have enough room to you know what? I always tell our salespeople, I said, when we start talking about the shower with our customers, all we need to know is you want a larger shower. I don't need to know what's going on in there. I don't need to know what your intentions are. Let's just talk about the size of it, and we're going to move on. Talk about how many shower heads you want in there. We usually do, 3 or 4 shower heads plus a handheld. You always want a handheld in there because you want to make sure that you can rinse the shower down and clean it up real good. And it's up to you. On these showers, I always get a question is where people want to have an open space and not a door because they don't want to clean the glass. Well, when you do that, you got to make the shower almost twice as big. It gets really drafty in there. If you do decide to do that, make sure that you set it up to where you can put a door on it at some point. But you have to think about that space and the things that it takes to make that shower that big, to not have that door on there. Other than that, you can clean the glass all the time. There's plenty of glass cleaners, and make it pretty cool. The oversized shower, number 18. Number 19, a freestanding tub. This is something we've been doing for a while. And tubs were, long time ago when we were building a lot of production houses, it's like you sold this garden bath and it had a corner Whirlpool tub in it, and everybody would buy it, and everybody would come back to you and say, we've never used it. And now we're still doing a similar thing, but I think people are using these old school slipper tubs, standalone tubs. They're just so cool, man. I mean, when you walk into a master bathroom, these things are the focal point, the highlight of it. And I just enjoy seeing them because you can have some serious fun with this thing. Some words of advice. I'll tell you that if you're short, do not get a big tub because you won't enjoy it. You'll slip down inside there and you won't be able to sit up. You won't be able to enjoy it, and makes it a little bit more difficult for you to relax. And I know that not because of me, because I'm really, really tall. But because my wife is short and we have a big tub, and she said, hey, or we had a big tub in another house, and she said, hey, this is a problem. Number 20, a walk-in closet with an island. So we focus a lot on the master closet, the primary closet, I should say, sorry. And when we do these custom design closets, it's amazing what we can do with these things. But then when we're in the design phase and the architectural phase, we want to make sure when we're talking about this closet, do you want an island in there? Now, I can tell you from my own experience that we can reduce the amount of furniture that you need in your master bedroom if you do these closets right. You can change, get dressed, do everything in this closet and not have to leave the room. You don't have to go out in your bedroom and get this and get this and get this, keep coming back and forth. The other thing we do quite a bit of is we create a separate entrance exit through the master bedroom or master closet. I'm sorry. So when you are in there, and sometimes we have people on different schedules, and they get up early and they go work out, or they got to be, third shift or whatever they got to do. They're wanting to sneak out and not have to wake anybody else up. And it just makes it nice. The other thing we do a lot of times too, is we connect it to the laundry room, because if you do a first floor primary suite, in these houses, and your kids eventually are gone off to school or going off to wherever they want to go, it's only you guys living there. So you're going back and forth between the laundry and the primary closet. You know what? I should just give up. I'm never going to say primary. I'm just going to keep saying master. And so you're going to be going back and forth between the two. Some really cool stuff, but you can always just look at these closets and just see the cool things we're doing. But the island is somewhere where it's basically a dresser that you're putting in the middle of the closet, and again, it reduces the amount of furniture that you need for the outside in your room. Number 21 is a dog wash, and this becomes more and more popular, and because most people have a pet, and any small animal veterinarian will tell you that a pet is part of the family, and these people will do anything in the world for these animals. Like today, I've got Wilson here with me, and I bring him to work, and people love him, and I'm really just doing it just to get him out of the house. But anyway, a dog wash in the garage, a dog wash in the mudroom, a dog wash in the basement. You want it pretty much accessible to where the reason why you're washing the dog off is because you don't want to get your house dirty. So you don't want to put the dog wash somewhere where you have to drag the dog all the way through the house and get him into this spot. Make it to where you feel comfortable, where you're not bent over, where your back's going to hurt. Make it to where you can get your feet under it. Make it, we do some really cool things with this one. Put some cool tile in there. You want to have a handheld faucet in there to rinse the dog off, and then also make it to where you can have an outlet close by in case you want to blow dry your dog off too. But this is kind of a cool area. I just added this whole, I'm going to call it a dog room, to a friend of mine's house out in Ross. And she wanted this whole design because she's got 2 dogs, and this is what she was going to be taking care of. And we did a lot of really cool things in there for this, but these are all the things we kept in mind. But we do this 90% of the time in these houses. 22 goes back to woodwork, custom built-ins. And now there's 2 ways to look at these built-ins. Everybody wants built-ins. When we build these built-ins in a shop, or maybe our inside trim guys build them, or we build them on site, and we're building them out of, regular, lumber, poplar, whatever the case may be. And then we have our painters paint them with an enamel out there on the field, so it looks just like the rest of the trim. It's great. I mean, it's high quality. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's just not the same as a cabinet. So a lot of the built-ins that we start doing now, we're trying to do them out of the cabinet shop because we want that lacquered finish on it. The lacquer is going to give you a different color than your inside trim, but it's also going to give you a nicer finish. We're going to have different hardware on all of these things, and I just feel like it's going to turn it on a little bit. These built-ins go in a master closet bedroom, or the master closet. We do like a window seat. You can do them in a master bedroom as a window seat. You can do them in the study. We do whole bookshelves and credenzas and desks. We do them in the great room on each side of the fireplace, maybe. We do them everywhere, all over the place. My kids have 2 big bay windows that we have mattresses in, so it's like a reading nook. And then when they have friends there, they stay at their friends sleep up there. And when they're reading in a room, they're kind of hanging out and chilling in that space. And that's really cool to do. Built-ins are something that make sure that when you're thinking about built-ins, you're thinking about not just like, oh, that'd be cool to do, but the quality of the build material and the finished product. So you're getting what you were expecting. And finally, number 23, large islands or double islands. I mentioned this before about the double islands, but something to think about with your island. Think about how many people you want to have seated around there. How many people do you want to cross the front of it? Do you want to send some people down the side? Are you going to be spending most of your time here at the island, eating dinners there every night? A lot of people do that. They don't sit at the table. How are you going to be using it? And 99% of the time too, we are putting the kitchen sink in the island. And so you want to make sure that your island is big enough for that. And it's got enough space there for you to spread out. Not a lot of people read the paper anymore, but if you're going to sit there and read the paper, you got to read. I have a spot that I sit at my island every single morning, and I roll down through my devotions, and I roll down through, I'm on Noom because I'm always trying to maintain my weight. And I roll down, I have a crossword puzzle I do. I sit there at the same spot every morning and do all these things. And I know other people that do the same thing. Another thing to consider, enough about me, let's talk about me. Another thing to consider is how big is the granite slab that you're going to have for your island? Because I do not like to see a seam in this island. So most of the slabs are 10 and a half feet, and most of them are 60 inches wide, somewhere in there, roughly. So that's about the size of the island, unless you're prepared to put a seam in there and be okay with it. It's going to change the grain. It's going to change everything. It's going to change the look of it. And that's a big island. And anybody that comes into our office, our conference table is 10'5", I think, long. So you can get a good look at what it's like for that. But think about that island, because again, this is where all the entertainment ends up. This is where the focal point comes, and this is where you're hanging out at. And this is also, where you eat and enjoy it every single day. The island is really, really important, because it's, again, somewhere where you spend all of your time. And you're going to get your value out of it, a lot of value out of it. So that's the top 23 things that we came up here at Wheeling Builders of the must-haves in a new custom home. And again, when you're building, kind of a production style house, or you're building a different kind of house, you can incorporate all of these things into any house as you're designing it, as you're building it. It's just a different scale. I tell people that for Home Rama all the time when I come walking out through Home Rama. Take these ideas back home, and if you're not going to build a big custom house, at least downscale them, downsize them, right size them, I guess I should say, to what you're going to do with them, and maybe you can experience the joy that all these people are getting out of these things. So that's what I've got for today, and we're going to join you guys next. It's at the end of the month. I don't have the date. It'll be the fourth Tuesday of the month, and hopefully my wonderful guest will be here, and we will be able to interview her, and get that interview going, and you guys are really going to enjoy it. So don't forget, to check us out at wheelingbuilders.com and check out all of our awesome pictures and on there, and all of our homes that we've built. And if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to add to the conversation, or correct me, or whatever you want to do, send me an email at wbdownload@wheelandbuilders.com. It's wbdownload@wielandbuilders.com. And I just want to thank you all for listening. We are just above 1,500 people that have downloaded our podcast here, which is really exciting. And, we've got some goals on where we want to be at with that. And we've got some, just finishing up the year here. I think we've got 6 more episodes that take us through the end of the year. We'll probably do a couple Christmas special things, but we've got some really cool guests lined up, and you guys are really going to enjoy it, and I hope you tune in for it. So thank you again, and thank you for being here, and thanks for listening, and I'd love to hear from you, so please reach out to me. So check us out at wheelandbuilders.com, and if you got anything, send me an email at wbdownload@wheelandbuilders.com. Thank you, everybody.